Spoiler alert. Please be advised that the following video will contain spoilers for Lovecraft Country. What's up everybody, it's me E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, it is episode 6 of Lovecraft Country. Oh, okay, this this show does not stop finding new ways to get weird. This show really tries to find all these different ways to tap into different walks of nerd life, right? It's like, not only did the showrunners decide to tap into, I would say, more of like the anime section of the world, but they managed to find the dark corners by going into like tentacle sex and stuff. Like, and we do actually have a bit of an emotional drama within this like relationship, a very strange relationship. Mainly, we finally get some backstory to both Atticus and the Korean woman who Atticus was on the phone with in earlier episodes. Oh, and by the way, if you're not in the subtitles, this episode probably ain't for you because like 80% of it is all in subtitles. Thankfully, my years of anime watching are finally paying off. But no worries, if you're not in the subtitles or if some of the stuff just kind of went over your head or if you missed some things, have no fear. I'm going to break down the episode and I'm also going to explain some of the backstory, you know, for the war and all this other stuff so that you can hopefully get a really good understanding of what was going on during this episode. So let's jump into it. We're introduced to Jihad and her mother. From the get-go, it sounds like something really bad happened given the loss of Jihad's father. Now initially, the dishonor that happened to be on their household, I thought that this was kind of like one of those cultural issues of patriarchy where, you know, like if there's no man in the house, then automatically your house is just, you know, dishonorable because it's only women in there. But later on we find out it was actually dishonorable because there was some real messed up stuff going on. So Jihad is doing whatever it takes to basically get herself a degree to bring some honor back to the household and her family. However, her mama's like, go get you a man. Matter of fact, go get you lots of men. So, as weird as that sounded, Jihad went along with it and she started doing some speed dating. However, she kept getting struck out because apparently she's too much of a nerd who loves movies. Oh, I feel attacked. Well, either way, it doesn't take long for her to bring home a thirsty guy from the club. He's sitting there clearly thinking that he's hit the jackpot and can't wait to get it on. As things get going, the tentacles pop out and penetrate this poor fella as his soul gets absorbed and Jihad sees all of his memories of his life. Man, that's so messed up. My man was going to have a kid, he was going to have his family together, and he was going to climb some mountain and everything, but nah. You did. But now you know this show was doing the most when they had to have people like literally explode like that with all the blood and everything. Like, y'all just gotta be so extra. And then you just had the mom just come in all nice and calm and cool and everything, be like, okay, 10 more to go. Well, luckily, we get a lot of exposition in this episode and a full explanation of just what is actually going on here. Jihad's father was a pedophile and was sexually molesting her. She even mistaked that for true love. Her mother, on the other hand, was not having it, so she went to a shaman, witch doctor, or a mudang to have a spell cast on her daughter. The spell would then place the Kamiho spirit into her daughter. Now, here's where some of y'all anime fans can finally feel at home. This is basically Naruto with the nine-tailed fox Kurama. Plus, notice how like the whole shame of having the spirit inside of you carried on with Jihad, and it's the same thing that happened with Naruto too? But anyway, let me give you a little background on the Kamiho spirit. It's basically a legendary fox spirit according to Korean traditions, and as we see here, it kills and eats human beings. In this show, Kamiho spirit is summoned to avenge the wrongs done by men. Now, according to various Korean traditions, the Kamiho does value the ascension to humanity as a priority, and there are a number of different trials or quests for them to accomplish in order to get rid of that curse. In this case with Jihad, her quest is to absorb the souls of 100 men. When she reaches that number, she can then become human again. Plus, when Jihad does absorb the souls of the men she kills, she's able to see their entire life before they die and keep their memories. Now, that is actually really important, so keep that in mind, especially when she meets Tick. And we will definitely get to that in just a moment. Jihad was studying to become a nurse, and since the Korean War was happening during this time, she and her fellow classmates were needed at times to assist with the wounded soldiers. So let me give you a quick understanding of kind of like the context of what was going on during the 1950s and the Korean War. There was an increasing fear of the growth of communism during this time. This was called the Red Scare. Matter of fact, there were two Red Scares, with one happening after World War I and the second Red Scare happening after World War II. Under the Red Scare, governments and people were really terrified of communist spies infiltrating the country. So this is where you get the ideology of McCarthyism, which was named after Senator Joseph McCarthy. Basically, he came up with the practice of making accusations of treason or subversion without any regard of facts or evidence. Man, good thing we're not living in the 1950s. I tell you, it would be crazy if we were living during a time where people didn't care about facts or evidence. Anyway, we saw a clear example of the Red Scare that was going on when we saw Jihad's friend being terrified of being labeled as a communist. Both women saw how quickly and easily people were hung to die with just that mere suspicion. Well, Jihad finds out later that her friend is actually one of those communist spies, and unfortunately, her and the other nurses are suspected by the US Army of having a traitor amongst them. During the lineup, you see the soldiers killing the nurses until they find out who the actual spy really is. And this is where we meet Tick as a soldier for the first time. He merely follows orders and kills the nurse without even thinking twice about it. That is McCarthyism at work. And Tick unfortunately ends up becoming an accomplice in the death of Jihad's friend. With an ironic twist of fate, Jihad finds out that Tick is now one of her patients in the hospital. She decides to take care of him, mainly to extract her revenge on him for murdering her friend. Ooh, man, that's a cold woman. However, Tick slowly starts to win her over with his love of books and movies. And boom, just like that, we got a nerd love connection. By the way, I just want to say, I really love Jonathan Majors' acting here. My man is putting it on the line, and I love it. He is killing this role. Anyway, as we see Tick smooth talking Jihad, we still get tidbits of real racial issues that existed during that time. I enjoyed the cultural explanation of the messed up reality that both the Asian and Black Americans faced at the time. In other words, the racism in America has been so thick that even for those who serve their country, even for those that put their lives on the line, in the line of duty, they were still viewed as being lesser than and being discriminated against. Another way to look at it is that America has prioritized racism over patriotism, over mere civility, and we're not even going to talk about just, equal rights. Well, Tick and Jihad's relationship continued to grow, and Tick pulled out all the stops to get Jihad her favorite movie. Now let's take a moment here and give a huge shout out to Uncle George. Coming through in the clutch one more time. Let's go, Uncle George. Never forget that it was a black man that invented Netflix and chill. Anyway, Jihad goes ahead and pops Tick's cherry since he's been a virgin all this time. It's at this point that she decides that she's not going to kill Tick and she's not going to pursue her 100th man to get rid of this curse. That is, of course, to the dismay of her mother. Jihad confesses to Tick that he killed her best friend and that she started dating him initially to murder him. That is until she got to know him and she started to understand the toll that the war was taking on Tick mentally. It's kind of poetic here because both of them are kind of realizing that they're monsters to some degree. Now, Tick was more of a metaphorical monster because of what the war did to him. Now, Jihad, on the other hand, she was a literal monster, out here eating souls like they was fruit snacks or something. Look, I know when people talk about relationships and everything being complicated, complicated just got a whole new meaning after this relationship. Anyway, after some time, Tick and Jihad actually start to work things out. Slowly but surely, she tries to work up the nerve to tell Tick about her true nature. But of course, we love drama, so she never gets around to actually telling Tick the truth. So eventually, while they are getting it on and Tick hit that right spot, he made her tails get to wagging. She tried to hold back, but they got a hold of Tick, and she was immediately able to see both his memories and his entire life. So now we have to dissect some of this. So let's go through the memories, and then we'll go through the other visions that she saw. First, it looks like we saw Tick's mother, which probably confirms people's suspicions that she was the one Uncle George was dancing with back in episode 2. We also see Tick being a book lover and getting whooped by Montrose for whatever reason. Then we get to the last memory where Jihad's best friend is under interrogation and getting her teeth pulled out while Tick is standing there holding her down. Then she kicks Tick off of her, and this is where the future visions start to come into play. We get a glimpse of Tick in bed with another black woman, who ain't Letty, by the way.
Papa! Who this woman?
We then see Tick buying only one ticket, so I guess he's by himself, on his way to Chicago. Then we see an image of Tick getting baptized, and then we randomly see Letty. Finally, Tick is tied down to some sort of contraption, and then we see his life end. Jihad warns Tick not to go home or else he will die. And this is where the connection is tied up from what we saw in the previous episode with Tick's decoding of the pages. So what can all this mean? Look, if I had to speculate, I'm kind of thinking that this is a bit of a send-off, right? I mean, first of all, you're not about to kill the main character, okay? First and foremost. But maybe Tick does actually die and then he gets brought back to life in some way, shape, or form. And maybe that would actually explain why Jihad was only able to see only up to that moment of his death. Maybe she can't see past a second death. Keep in mind, none of this stuff is normal for Jihad because usually she's the one that's doing the killing. Now, if any of you have any ideas of what Jihad's vision means or what you think it could mean, please let me know in the comments down below. Well, this episode ends with Jihad and her mother visiting the Mudang or shaman lady, seeking answers to Jihad's vision. She wants to know if it'll come true that Tick will actually die, even though it was not by her hands. The witch doctor lady is of course no help because she only talks in these mysterious terms. She told Jihad that her mortal concerns are meaningless, and then she said that she hasn't become one with the darkness yet. Jihad is going to see countless deaths before her journey is done. I guess that just means we're going to have to wait for another episode to explain whatever all that stuff meant. But what do you think the shaman lady meant by her prophecy? Was there anything else in this episode that caught your eye? Do you have any interesting theories that you'd like to share? If you have any questions about the episode, please don't hesitate to post them in the comments, because as I've said a whole bunch of times in previous videos, you guys are simply amazing. I love reading these comments, and y'all be sharing some of the best insights and theories, and it's just pure gold. I love it. So please keep it coming. Anyway, that's all I got for you all today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I really do appreciate it. If you're new here and you like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe and go ahead and hit that bell so you don't miss out the next time I drop a video. Matter of fact, I will be dropping another video after next week's episode releases, so be sure to come back and join me afterwards so we could talk about what happened. In the meantime, I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.